Today I have a patcher preset that I use in literally all of my tracks, at least all tracks that have some kind of build-up, and that's basically all electronic music. If you already know me, you might remember a long time ago I already made 3 patcher versions of all the Endless Smile presets. A bit later I also made 6 of my own build-up presets, and you can still download all of them for completely free, of course. Anyway, this patcher preset is basically the ultimate version of all of these. So the general idea of this plugin is basically you have this big slider here, and if you move it, you basically increase the build-up intensity. So the idea is that we only have to move that one slider, and with only one slider we get a great build-up. All these little modules here control all the build-up effects. So the knobs don't control the parameters directly, but they control how much this build-up slider controls the parameters. So in the first section we have different riser sounds. For example, let's choose the low riser, and now if I move the build-up slider, you will hear there is some kind of riser going on, and you basically control how much the build-up slider controls the volume of the low riser with this button. Or we also have a high riser, or some noise. That's of course mostly a build-up effect if you move the slider, which is always the intended use case, of course. In the next section we have some kind of phaser effect, so if we just increase the mix and the feedback a bit, if we play it together with a song, because otherwise you don't hear the phaser, obviously. There's this phaser effect now. Or you also hear the riser, so maybe it's a bit hard to hear. But yeah, there's this phaser effect, and you can control the speed and the feedback and all these parameters here. Next we also have a chorus. This is somewhat of a similar effect, of course. Kind of diffuses the sound. I think it's nice for a build-up. After that we also have reverb. This was already enabled with the examples, but yeah, you can control the decay. Of course, as I said before, this doesn't directly control the decay, but how much the build-up slider controls the decay, and I chose a curve that makes sense for a build-up, let's just say it like this. So if we have a higher decay, of course, there will be more decay. There tends to be more decay. So here there's a lot of build-up, it gets very diffused. If we have a lower decay, it's not that diffused, but we still have a bit of reverb. This level, of course, controls the wet signal of the reverb. If you want to control the dry signal, so to speak, that's already here in the gain section. So delay works kind of similar, obviously. It's just a delay, I guess. Next we have the drive section. This is gain compensated, but keep in mind that the gain compensation is only an estimate. So for more control, you might want to use the volume slider in the gain section, or just use an automation clip for the volume of the track. Yeah, let me just show you how it sounds like. Really crunches it up. After that, probably the most important module, to be honest, we have a high-pass filter, like a high-pass and a low shelf. You can control both of them. The high-pass filter is more like a general sweep, and the low-pass is something that removes the low end pretty quickly after the build-up slider is more than 0. So yeah, you already heard them, but we can of course increase the high-pass filter, for example. Then there's more of the low end removed, or we have a more subtle effect like this, where we still keep most of the low end here. Lastly, we have the gain module. This might be a little bit unintuitive, but the volume knob actually controls how much the volume is reduced. So maybe I actually should have named it volume reduction or something. It just didn't fit in the space here. And the stereo knob is bidirectional, so this is basically the neutral position, and if you move it to the left, then the signal will get more mono the more you move the build-up slider, and if you move it to the right, then it will make the signal more stereo. So those are both effects that sometimes sound good or sometimes bad. I usually like it if it gets a little bit more mono, so that when the drop comes, the difference is big and it makes like and it explodes to the side, you know. But sometimes it's also cool if you stereoize it before the drop, because it makes it more diffuse, and then in the drop it becomes tight again. It really depends on the specific use case.